Hey, what's up? It's Colleen Delaney. If you're new here, hi. This channel is about books and writing. And today, this channel is about an unhaul. Because as you can see behind me, my shelves are getting to that point where I have books just sitting willy-nilly where they need to go. And there's a lot of books that I want to give away / sell, mostly sell, so I can buy more books with the money that I get from them. Because that's who I am. That's who we all are. If you're watching this, that's who we all are. So I have three bookcases that I'm going to unhaul. This one, which is my fiction bookcase. This one, which is my nonfiction bookcase. And this one, which is my book of the month bookcase / I keep random stuff up here like my Complete Shakespeare, which I should really put over on my nonfiction bookcase. So let's get started. And we'll start with book of the month since I'm seated on the floor right here. Okay, the tricky thing with book of the month is that I am not going to give away any books that I got in 2022 because at the end of the year, I like to look at the whole year, what I got, and go over them, and I'll make a video about it. So I'm only going to be unhauling books that I got last year, so there aren't going to be as many. Because I know there are some books I got this year that I am going to unhaul in January because I know I'll never read them again / won't give them to people. But for today, we're just going to do the ones I got last year in 2021. Cool. My 2021 books are down there, so I'm just going to lift them up to you to show you. And I know that when I take these out, it's going to make a huge mess. I am going to give away Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. It's the book that made me join Book of the Month, and I really didn't like it. It's an Arthurian legend retelling, and I know way too much about Arthurian legend to have enjoyed this. Next, I'm going to sell Beautiful Country by Chen Julie Wang, mainly because I'm not a memoir reader, and I did get this memoir. I think there are a lot of people who would love this book, which is why I'm going to pass it on, but none of them are people who I'm like really close with, so I don't know who to give it to. So we're just going to put it up on Marketplace and see who buys it. And I'm going to give away It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, because I am not a Colleen Hoover fan at all. I don't like her books, but a lot of people do. And like 3 months ago, there was someone begging on Marketplace for a copy of this book. So maybe I'll find someone who wants to pay me for it. I bet I will. From the books up here, I've got the three of the books I've read so far this month. And then I've kept Love of My Life by Rosie Walsh up here, which I'm not going to read that book. So even though I did get it this year from Book of the Month, I'm not going to read it because there's a cancer plot line, which I didn't know. So I am going to add it to my unhaul. And that's everything from over here. So let's go over to my fiction section now. Okay, so rather than I started to try to build up, my tripod doesn't go this high. Something that could hold my camera this high. I thought, I don't want to knock anything over, so I'm just going to hold the camera. I'm sorry if it's shaky for this first shelf. And I'll be honest, I already did kind of look through this to decide what I'd be giving away. I'm going to sell The Parable of the Sower. While I liked this book, it was very disturbing, and I know I'm not going to read the sequel, but it's very popular right now, so I bet there are a lot of people out there who are going to read it and want to read it. Next, I have 4 Tessa Dare books. They are Goddess of the Hunt, Romancing the Duke, I can't read these, Sass the Marquess, and When the Scot Ties the Knot. I'm not going to sell these, but I am going to, you can see our ladder in the back there. I am going to give them to my sister who loves to read romance novels, so I am going to put together a bag for her right now, and these 4 are going to be in there. All right, next, I am going to give away Well Met. I just don't think I'm going to read this book. I don't really read contemporary romance that often. I did start it and didn't really like the beginning, so I think it's precious shelf space. I am going to sell it. Right, next, I am going to sell The Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett. I never read it, and honestly, I'm not going to. I read the first 2 in the series, liked them both quite a bit. It's 1,000 pages. If I'm going to read a 1,000-page book this year, I'm going to read Priory of the Orange Tree, which honestly, I'm probably not going to read that either. Next, I am going to sell Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch. I read about the first 50 pages of it, didn't like it very much. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, so I am going to sell this one too. All right, we're lower. I can use both hands again. Look how much space I'm getting. I'm so excited. Yay. Okay, I am going to sell The Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. I have had this book for a really long time, and I just don't think I'm going to pick this up. I used to be way more into historical fiction than I am right now, and currently, like, World War II just isn't really like a time period I'm super interested in reading about. Time to sell it. I'm going to sell The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This book was fun. I enjoyed reading it. It was a fun thriller, but there's not really anyone in my life who likes these kind of thrillers, and so I am going to sell it. I'm either going to sell When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill or give it to my neighbor, because she did mention when I was reading it, she asked me what it was about and she said it sounded interesting, but I really didn't like this book like at all. So I feel weird giving it to her as like a recommendation when I didn't enjoy it. So I'll either give it to my neighbor or I will sell it. Next, we've got 3 Sophie Jordan books: While the Duke Was Sleeping, The Scandal of It All, and The Duke Buys a Bride. And these are going to my sister. This shelf is all Juliette Merlier, and I would never give away her books. So none of them are going away. All right, we're lower again. On this shelf, there's quite a few that I am going to give away. I'm going to give away / sell Nemesis, which is autographed. Oh, good, not to me. I went to a author event for this and never read it. It's YA, and I don't really read YA, and yeah. So I'm going to sell it. I'm also going to sell Carve the Mark, which this is my second copy that I'm going to have sold. It's also autographed. I lost the dust jacket, but again, these were an author event together, and I don't want to read any YA, and it's just been sitting here collecting dust, so off you go. So that's all my fiction. Let's do my nonfiction, which is going to be less. So I did already go through my nonfiction, because when I sell nonfiction, I tend to hold on to nonfiction longer, depending on what it is. But I went through and did pick out some that it's time to go. This is my daughter's flamingo that she ripped a tiny hole in, and it's got like little beads coming out, and I need to sew it shut, and I haven't done it yet. First one I'm going to sell is Intimations by Zadie Smith. I really liked this collection of essays, but I don't think I'll ever reread it, and I do think there are people who would buy it. Next, I'm going to sell Doomed Queens by Chris Walderher. This was a fun book. It's just like snippets about horrible things that happened to queens and princesses throughout history. But I read it probably like 5 years ago, and I'm not going to reread it. So, yeah. Next, I've got The Little Book of Like, or however you say this, Luca, I'm not sure. But it's the guy that wrote the Hygge book. And while I really liked the Hygge book a lot and gave to my sister, because then she went to Denmark and she has not returned it, I didn't really like this one that much, so I don't feel the need to keep it anymore. And then I'm going to sell The Little Book of Feminist Saints. I read this a few years ago, and it was fun to read, but, I'm not going to reread it, and my girls are way too young for it still, so it's just taking up space. The rest of the books on here are like cookbooks and like some huge kind of like coffee table type books I have, which I'm not going to do on this unhaul. Those coffee table books, I have to kind of like go through and see whether or not I think any of them would sell at half price books, because I know no one in Marketplace would buy them. So those will be a different unhaul if I do eventually do them. But let's look at what I picked out. Okay, so in conclusion, I'm giving away 4 books from Book of the Month, 4 other adult hardcovers, 3 adult paperbacks, 2 YA hardcovers, and then I'm giving my younger sister 7 romance novels. These I don't really consider as like giving away, because if I want them back, I can always get them back from her, even though she has a lot of my books right now and has not returned them. It's okay. But wish me luck. Hopefully I'll make some money and I can go to our town's book sale that starts this afternoon and goes all weekend, and then maybe I'll show you what I got. I don't know. I'm not sure how. I drove by today and there were already people who own like used bookstores like just taking boxes upon boxes out. So I'm not sure how picked over it's going to be by the time I can go tomorrow, but hopefully I'll find some gems and maybe some stuff that's been on my TBR forever that I can get a nice price on. Wish me luck. So we'll see what I get for these books. But either way, it's time for them to go. And also now, look at all this beautiful shelf space you can see, particularly in the corner right there. Because I have been wanting to move some of my older Book of the Month books off that Book of the Month shelf and put them like in here, like Circe, ones that came out a long time ago. I want to just have them kind of like with my regular collection. And now I'll have space to do so. And space for more books that I continually buy. Thank you for hanging out with me for this unhaul. I know hauls are always way more exciting. So I hope to give you a nice video about a haul very soon, instead of about the books that I decided not to read and to sell. As always, I hope you're in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. See you soon.